Yep. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And so, so they write the draft, they submit the draft. And then what happens when they say it? I tell them I'm not ready to draft. Because when I did break the draft, if they're doing like 14 out of 20, I'm sorry, no 14 out of 20. Yeah, 14 out of 20, that's 70. They're not going to do anything more. Some of the other students will work on it until they get like 4. That also, with the following, they have to revise. Next week, they revise that I made. Okay? So, these assignments, yes, feedback. Is the typical, it's the typical letter to read my comments on the draft of your employment cover letter. Revise the letter based on the comments that I posted in the draft, and they have parts of the following. And I still am not writing anything. Okay? But this is where, coming down to this, use any AI tool to revise the first draft of the employment letter. In a Word document, type the exact prompt that you use. I want to know what prompt they're using. All right? So that I can see what they're getting at. Okay? And that the idea of this is also looking at the reflection. Okay? In the same Word document, compare the comments that I've made on the first draft with the revision from the AI tool that you use. Which of the two did you find more useful in revising your first draft? My comments or the AI tool? And be specific. Did the AI and my comments help with the revision of your letter, or did all the comments confuse you? So I need to find out how they're reacting to this extra work, because it's extra work, as opposed to looking at the AI first. Why did it come to you? Right? It's a problem about here. It is all time. Same thing. Also, young people want to listen.
Want to show that right that
Well, that's the point about learning curve. But I can want first of all see that they do have their own books, and see if it's the judgment on people's voices. That because they have a voice and I have a voice that is created my voice perfect. Neither is AI. So I want to find out first they find that they're supposed to your voice. And that you said that. I should really put this into your instructions so that they'll be have tried to be the report. Yep. Yeah. What's the point? How about that? Most students think that teachers are out to get them. Yeah, so the first way up. She stopped. She's out to get and all this other stuff. Now, one has to see that they have a voice. And like us, I did not work by why are you doing this? Bring up that the artist of work. So the post is going to have comments that are like, it's not appropriate. And even if they ask that. Okay, correct word, even when they're because it's about it. Yeah, exactly. And also, when you have, because this vocabulary, which if you use another vocabulary, do you not understand what the vocabulary is? Well, that's the important thing, because some students, one student that an advanced level, and of course past the English, but her speaking level and writing level, they still the ESL level, and she uses this aggregate. However, when I asked the child of God, what was she understand by aggregate? She'll look at me as if I was speaking in Japanese and she's listening and she's like the other. And they know. So I want them to see how important they are, not just to make sure that they're healed. But that's not mine. So this is what I did with the Evo Braille was my mentor, in getting this together. And so this was just our my first foray, into AI. And I know with it, obviously, with all the comments that people have made. So my next foray, when I come back to here, tell you that I won by order. They did it, so I thought you'll see it. Taking everybody's comments. Because I think it's really important for us who learn pronounce a lot of the comments, but like this on that. So Wanda and I were in the same project. And there were other faculty who were on the project as well. the one that and the referral was next to volunteers. So Juan and I were the only two volunteers on a group set. So they explained that with us. But others, seriously, the other faculty who were involved in the project has some excellent ideas as well. I'm sorry they did not here to share this with you. Okay. Any questions before one? Oh, space.
Got plans? Going up to our.
Well, they might have questions if you. Okay. Thank you all.
All right. Again, my name is Juan Sotoprajo, and we are sharing some that we are kind of evaluate the where he thinks that when they have to teach the target or the less that Crawford's like what where she's appreciated and fair and if that exhibits of about the local experience there. That being said, we have it's that thank you so much, Frank. So in order to put this very relevant, we use genetically to create it. This is the fight tech coming from EdTech. Well, now we continue. Yes, the first thing that we need to keep in mind that when we're using ChatGPT, for instance, we would like to start with something we call RAPCON. RAPCON is just an acronym. People can grab my acronym. Better. And then it stands for the R stands for the O. A is for action. Ed for format. And con for context. In that case, when we want to get an assignment for ChatGPT, we want to actually give something it's pretty raw, like being an expert. That is very simple. In this case, we are saying that you are an executive lesson plan layer. So ChatGPT is actually that raw. And use this file tags. I had a cat like a file that had to do with the third chapter of this book called Beyond the Well Said, grade 1. And using that file, I assign an action to ChatGPT, which is to generate in 5-day mini unit with lesson plans to cover pages 39 to 80. Okay, but that's what how could I be? And after that, I also asked them, in what format? Well, tailor this lesson to freshman students in high school, but also I want to give a context. And that context is to probably Apple. Then, so using all this type of information, it's going to generate a mini unit for 5 days. It also that one that I results. Well, here it is. We have the output. We have day 1 with its objective targets. And everything starts from warm-up or employee with new balance. The type of communication roles that we use nowadays, like this, that we interpretive, people towards not representational. We have rapid practice, and we have pair activity and PA. Of course, there's also an assessment, and that assessment we already listed. Day 2 goes by with a very similar structure. Again, you have a structure to follow each single day. The approach from the opening to the middle activities to peer activities, to group activities, and the exit figure, which is like the end of the lesson. But at the same time, you also have different types of assessment area. Besides that, we also have differentiation on that. So students what they have some sort of disabilities. Maybe they need some extra help. They need kind of a saving starter to get them moving, to get them going forward. And in that case, we have sort of some structure that we provide to them in order to make a lot easier for them and more effective for these type of students. And it explains to you why this new words and how it follows the actual standards and whatever we described. Now, that is not enough. I already had my structure of what I want to do, but I've been asked that to generate a story based on the vocabulary that's in the middle of those pages. That's another way to very one. And get what it does. It generates an image, and not an image, right? It generates a short story with basic language, but every single adjective that would use, well, not every single, but most of the adjectives that were used within those pages, that are they how citizens describe people that experience and also personality are linked to that. It also gives you suggestions on how to apply this source of the RPG. And then if you want to have a more structured support for the students what we need extra help, here's a list of some activities they can fill in the plan, service conclusion, matching. And there are several worksheets that ChatGPT generates for. As we can see, there's worksheets for the read, or the reply, and so on. Again, it is tailored to help everyone in the class, even those who already have certain knowledge of the language or they have maths, they benefit from that. But also those who are in need of some help, some additional help, you also benefit from it because about it. Now, one thing that we have done is take the same story that was generated with that and copy that information and move it onto the website. It is text to speech or TTMPP.com, which is their free website. And I take that text, paste it into that box, and I can have this text become another box, an APP box. I'll demonstrate that doing how what is out there. And then that's another way to expose students to the narrative. You expose to the life. This thing not only they're having the reading, they're now having that input moving, but also an auditory picture, which is very important. And then, of course, we last also add ChatGPT to generate quizzes, which somebody very handy. You want to assess your students, and then you can ask them for multiple choice, true, false, within the plan. But also you can ask them for complete sentences. You can ask that you generate prompts or rhyme, like so on and so forth. And the most beautiful thing is that it comes with an answer key. So that means you don't have to take it for free to find out what the correct answers are. So you have that all out. Right? So that being said, how do we do this? Well, let's say I have such a right. Okay, so let's say first you want ChatGPT to generate. Is this where you go? You see the plus sign with it. This point we have this picture right here. We have this plus sign and it is the box. When I click that plus sign prompts it to add automatically, but also file and this is where I upload that chapter to me I want to use for my student. So I would just go and it's like uploading in a password thing. But that should be very reasonable. I would just search whatever it is. And let's say I don't have it here, but let's say I find it in my document. I go to where it is. In that case, click over to upload that upload that file. It uploads. And based on that, you started the program to add in ChatGPT to generate it. Number one, what is you need to do? You assign ChatGPT a word.
Which
Okay, but you have to assign is a role, right? A role you said? All right. So yes, a role. And then after that you have to remember the acting wrap on so R for the role and then after that you have the A, what if we action where you want to have that you could do to generate something, to create something for it. What is there? You like yes, based on the role we have even change it. And then the app would be what? The format. Yes. That format you can a type of format or bullet points to be summarizing chapter you are trying to make say an summary. Bullet point. Take whatever you want to happen, you assign that. Now here's the thing. The minute I want to assign a goal, I say you are an expert in what role do you want to advise at the big where any one of your bills with real written. Personal side. That. All right. Now, if I get enter, it's going to go crazy. And if you say, oh, it's hallucinating. Well, it's hallucinated because you haven't finished speaking at all. Now, what you want to do is just press the shift key or the hit enter, and then bring a new line. And then the new line, we can do get such a apps, right? And that actually is anyone that automate put my step. Okay. It does an action from you. Maybe you want to create a strategy to revise your that. Okay, so you want to create or generate a strategy. Put it way there.
Cost is saying to check the budget that have to put my expenses into the different categories.
Bro, would that be the format? Did you say if that a format you would
I mean, I could probably myself throw extra details in there. It's to be like strategy career down or something like that. It might be like if that to be so I said let's talk about what categories one might expect of a person in finance division to have, and let's discuss what reasonable percentages should be stressed after. So you know what I mean? Yes.
all right. So once again, I think you see she's into it some detail, but not tell me what and not beside the other one. You are the detail, the other one. I was informed that we will have verified. But again, it is proof that you hit the shift, he hit enter, and then it opens it and do combine. So you can follow with that after it. Right on. Okay. Red side or off, you assign an absolute. Report, you assign a format and in like a con the board during the context prepare. I want to use to complete by showing you that besides generating that story we generated earlier, we could also add that to generate images, right? And in that case, there will be images that follow along for it. They're always with the story that we created, like we created. Yeah, really good something like this, right? So now, not only students are having only input, they're having image, but also having text. Yeah. But they actually, it is well, to create just very down.
I do have a question for you. I feel be about the network, and I think bringing back to what your body was built. We are since the second language, for those we want to know the technically, but they are I think we have different knowledge in as well. And I do expect that try to sneak into different situations AI. And so that AI does not pronounce things correctly. So I'm wondering, and to the English or rather the English AI, how do we get actually get robot pronunciation, particularly when you are trying to get an article or a client benefit?
That is a great question. We now are very good bit. Let's say for instance, we had I'm not asking ChatGPT to generate the audio. That it think a little bit up. But there's this website called text single MP3 that if it's very hard to go to grab the text, plug it in there, and then it generates the audio for me. Of course, I can actually take ChatGPT this website. I can pick and choose whether I want a male or a female. I think it's taking a while.
Just thinking that that's
So
way that our students can possibly work together.
at the line decision, what can that we need to do, or I can get that it's or we great. We need to go over what that yeah, and make sure they clean it up, make sure that it's straight up, and with the really.
It's some of the finding that we also what we were is talking how I like to be Liplado is privacy. Do not enter any personal identifiable rate there about him or your student or anyone particular. Because one thing that we usually forget, AI is constantly learning. It was not a stop. At some point, giving it to not allow your name, you're going to be now with you. Because by the time we have already created a partner, probably why you ask. I know this you because about that one. But try not to put any further information there. The other thing is, like, for example, coming back to Rora example, yeah, you can get their own information there. You review yourself with either more precise and then you go to more specific. But try to get a make it on to grab.
No,
You're fucking like that.
Okay, here's the thing about the audio on AP3. So what I do is that I list the box, I simply copy and paste the text. Scroll down, I can either listen to it, or I can go ahead and download the MP3. But because this is French, I can go here and find the French version in this. Often I want a lady to be for me instead of a guy, so I want a Leah to do it. And then I would download that AP3 file and voila. How long that is already? I don't know. How long did it take to generate a file? You still second me part.
C'est simple. Il est nocivement, mais parfois le petit. Son originalité est petite, intelligente et très gentille. Elle est motivée. Elle est sociable et énergique. Au lycée, il est capable d'adopter. En lycée 2, il une forme isolée, mais il est aussi généreux.
That's locked.
There's no button for putting actions on that and have to be a actions to granted. How about
It should be a gift file as a
Handshake. The flavor. I have put it. No, she's had the English has caps.
oh, I please so what I can for I haven't seen action, but I can play it for it. See if oh it is proud the paid larger will allow for area capsule. But yet you can also have So you think that we have 50 more. Like, and at this time, I would like to say that I hope everyone has a beautiful day. Good. And thank you so much for being here. If you still have any questions or comments, please be free to find up the credit or help. I didn't hit people my name. Okay, so they're trying to put I work that in the back and you.
Andrew got pick a lot at on him or whatever and stuff. But that also is like this for that.
But I want something but now we do my personal we against Copilot because Copilot is protected with the CUNY's comfort. But for the open learn app, the Stevie got it fun. But I also be agents. I have agent to do specific things. But every conversation started before they put tech there so that you can always go back. Upload Python. I also do programming. But I create a pilot native just to help it start.